welcome to Sri Sathya Sai Loka Gurukulam, free online classes in science. Have you had a nice food? Lunch you had? Okay. Get your books ready, pen also and book also to note down. Today we are in a very interesting chapter called materials. Can you list out the materials you see in a day? Okay, go on listing out. In that we will concentrate on what are called metals and non-metals. Can you just tell me what are the things you get? We find, for example, you have heard about gold. You will see gold ornaments, correct? You will also see silver. You also see iron, carbon, correct? And you have heard that oxygen is there everywhere. Nitrogen is there. So these are all different materials we get in the nature, correct? So in that you have heard about elements. What I just now told are called elements. What is element? It is a substance that cannot be broken down further by chemical reactions, by cooling, heating, or by electrolysis. So it is simplest substance. For example, if you take nitrogen or oxygen or sulfur or carbon, etc. If you go on breaking it, smallest particle also will be sulfur only. It will be carbon only, smallest particle. Is it not? So that is what is called as element. Example, sulfur, iron, carbon, gold, silver, etc. You also can add. Actually, there are about 115 elements discovered so far. Okay? And suppose you go on breaking up the elements, the smallest particle or the smallest unit of an element is called atom. To give a very beautiful example, I think all of you eaten laddu, is it? Bundi laddu. When I say laddu, you will get saliva. Remember the picture of the laddu. How laddu is prepared? They prepare bundi, is it not? Then they put that bundi into the juice of sugar. Okay, sugar solution, hot solution of sugar. Then they will mix it up. After some time, they keep it for some time for drying. Then they will press. How many know preparing laddus? Almost all will know. Okay, at least you know how to eat it, correct? So if you press it strongly, it becomes a laddu. And laddu is prepared out of bundis. Suppose you compare this element as laddu, the atom will be like a bundi. So every element is made up of millions of atoms. So atoms is the smallest particle of an element. And then a sample of an element contains only one kind of atoms. Suppose you take a piece of iron. All the atoms of iron consist of same kind of iron particles. Similarly, gold. All atoms have the same feature of gold. Correct? So this is the thing we have already seen in your previous classes. So about 94 are naturally occurring elements. So natural occur means what? They are available in the earth. Can you give some names? Okay, come on. What are they? Gold, of course. Gold is available naturally in the form of quartz. Do you know where the gold mines are in Karnataka? Yes, in KGF or in Raichur Hatti, correct? Similarly, platinum is available in the form of native form. But there are some metals which will occur in the form of an ore compounds. So, like for example, iron is available in the form of hematite, aluminum is available in the form of bauxite, copper is available in the form of cuprite. They are all called ores. Okay, so they are naturally occurring. What about the remaining? The remaining elements, say something like 20 or 21, they are prepared in the laboratory. They are artificial. So that is one thing you must note, about which you are going to study later in detail. An important classification element is in terms of metals and non-metals. So main classification is metals and non-metals. So as I was just now telling you, more than 80 are metals. Out of 115 elements discovered, about 80 and more are metals. The remaining are either non-metals or metalloids. What are metalloids? Metalloids have the character of both metals and non-metals. For example, germanium is there, okay, and silicon is there. So they are called metalloids, which act like metals also, which act like non-metals also. Okay, so these are the things we have seen in the previous classes. Now coming to today's topic. Come on, can you think of, list out the material that we come across every day? Of course, you may say water, you may say air, is it not? You may say all eatables. There, some of them are compounds, some of them are mixtures, and some of them are metals. For example, the plate, what you use, is made up of steel. It is a compound of a metal, is it not? And some material like that can list out. They may be metals or non-metals or metalloids. So gold, copper, iron, etc. Where gold is used? It is used for, come on, ornaments. Girls know very well. They have got different ornaments made up of gold, correct? Copper, vessels, they are made out of copper, correct? Iron, in the nails they use iron, correct? So non-metals may be coal, sulfur, lead, etc. Pencil lead. So they call it as lead. Actually it is not lead. Nothing but, come on, anybody? Graphite, correct? So we will see the figures. So this is what is called gold plate. When I say gold, they will measure it in terms of what is called carats. The purest form of gold is 24 carat. The sovereign is called 22 carats. Usually the market what you see is nothing but 18 carats. And this is what is called as coal, that is used for production of electricity. This is sulfur. So these are non-metals. This is a metal, gold plate, what you call. What is this called? Can you see it? Okay, this is copper wire. You might have seen in the pump sets and all, you may find that copper wire. This is coated actually. So what is this? Nails. They are usually made up of iron. Of course, we say some alloys also will be there, but usually it is made up of iron. And this is called the graphite present in the pencil. The sharp tip of a pencil is called as graphite. It is a non-metal. So these 1, 2, 3 are non-metals. 1, 2, 3 here are called metals. Is it nice? Okay. And like that you can make a big list of all the materials what you come across in a day. So when an iron nail is beaten with a hammer, have you tried it? It becomes flattened. So this is the hammer. This is the iron nail. Suppose beat it, what happens? It becomes flattened, correct? Similarly, if you try, keep a coin on the railway track, the train passes through that, what happens? It gets flattened. And that is how these vessels are made. They flatten the metals. What is that property called? That property of metals by which they can be beaten into sheets, thin sheets, is called malleability. Please pronounce this word correctly. Malleability. Malleability is a property of metals. Note this new name. Property of metals by which they can be beaten into sheets. Another same type of property, metals on heating can be drawn into wires. Thin wires. You have seen copper wires, correct? Aluminum wires. All these wires consist, that is nothing but metals. This property is called ductility. So note the two important words, malleability and ductility. Okay, repeat 10 times. Whenever you get a new word, you must practice it. You must write the spellings correctly, practice it. The same way, if you beat carbon or sulfur, what are carbon and sulfur? They are non-metals. It becomes powder. For example, charcoal, if you take in your house, you get charcoal. When a wood, after burning a wood, you get what is called charcoal. Suppose you beat it, it becomes powder. So the non-metals are neither malleable nor ductile. Very important property. Metals are malleable and ductile, whereas non-metals are neither malleable nor ductile. Means what? You cannot bring into sheets form, or you cannot draw into wires. That is the meaning. Okay. Now, all of you have seen your house, and some of you know it very well, how that iron box is. How many know ironing of clothes? Some of you may know knowing. Ironing of clothes. For ironing of clothes, you get what is called as iron box, correct? And have you seen the handle of the iron box? The handle of the iron box is made up of plastic. Is it not? So this is what is called the cable wire, and this is called regulator. That will be used for different clothes, different temperature. Do you know what is inside that? Do you know what is inside this? There is one sheet there. Do you know what it is? It is, come on, anybody? Thin sheet of metal is there. Not seen? Okay. Once you open it, you will get it. But of course, if you don't know how to close it, don't open. Only if you know how to close it, you get just to open and see. There will be a thin metallic sheet made up of asbestos. 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 It's a kind of metal. It is a white color metal. And also you have seen testers and metallic pan. So this is a metallic pan. It will be either be handing, sometimes it will be wooden, sometimes it will be plastic. Why do you have that plastic or wooden handles? So this is what is called as tester. It has got a plastic covering. You have seen the tester? Why it is used? Come on. Yes, they used to test the presence of electric current. Is it not? There will be plug point, you might have seen in your house. 3-pin plug and 2-pin plug. And 2-pin plug, whether current is coming or not, can be tested by a tester. And there will be a coil inside that, usually made up of alloys. And if you touch it here, it glows. If there is current in that system, it glows. But here the cover is made up of plastic. Why? Because plastic is a bad conductor. And suppose you have any metallic here, what happens? It gives shock. Suppose you have copper cover here, it gets shock. So here, that's why it is plastic. All this body is made up of plastic only, and this handle is usually made up of wooden or plastic, because it gets heated up and it is very difficult to transfer it or lower it down. Okay, so this property means it is a good conductor of heat and electricity. What about non-metals? Non-metals are bad conductors of heat and electricity. But graphite, that is what is called pencil lead, is a good conductor of electricity. You can do an experiment. Take your pencil, sharpen it on either sides, on this side and this side. Okay, have a piece of wire, this also one wire, connected to a bulb, another piece connected to a cell. Okay, what you call torch cell. So one is connected to cell, another is connected to bulb. What do you expect? The bulb glows. Why does the bulb glows? Because graphite is a good conductor of electricity. Even though it is a non-metal, it is a good conductor of electricity. That is what is called exception. You may tell 99 good points about a person, and last if you say but one any bad quality, the whole 99 good qualities will collapse. Correct? Ravana has learnt 64 vidyas, but he had no sense control, or he was full of desires. So all the 64 qualities what he has learnt is of no use. So this is an example of carbon. So when a wooden material is heated, it becomes black in color. You have seen it? This black color is due to the soot or carbon material. Okay, that is one thing. And secondly, you have got what is called charcoal. How you get charcoal? And any wood is burnt in fire, it becomes black in color. That is what is called as charcoal. And one more experiment you can do, just to test the presence of, to find out whether metals are conductors or not, conductors of electricity or not. So what you have to do, you have to take 4 pieces of wire, one piece here, 2, 3, 4. You can try it, very simple experiment. 4 pieces of wire, and the ends of these wires should be sharpened, or the rubber skin what is there should be removed. Why it should be removed? Because there will be copper wire here, and the copper wire, and when it touched this cell, it gives current. So this is what is called cell. These are the 4 pieces of wires. This is bulb. This is the nail. So what do you expect? So 4 lengths of electric wires with differently colored plastic coverings. Differently colored. So this color is somewhat yellow, this is somewhat blue, this is red, this is green. So different colors. Pieces of wires. And then a little of the plastic covering from each length of the wire is removed. So just like this, suppose this is a plastic wire, you must know the tip, you must chew the, or you must remove the rubber, the plastic covering here. I think all of you know it, either through blade or through something. Then this would expose the metal wires at the end of each length. So what happens? You get a metallic thing here. Suppose this is the wire, just chop off a small piece of rubber, you get what is called as metal. You can see it. The exposed part of the metal wire is fixed to the cell and other two of the bulb as shown in the figure. So these are exposed part connected to a bulb here, connected to a iron nail here, and from here it is connected to bulb again. That is what is called as simple circuit. Okay. So body attachment leads to miseries, because no body is permanent, every body will go off. Whereas the wires are like heart to heart, then only current will flow. Heart to heart relations is permanent, that is soul to soul, God to God. So we should try to have heart to heart relationship, not body relationship. Body relationship are temporary, because body is full of weaknesses and body is very temporary. Okay. So if the connection is made, what do you observe? We observe that bulb glows. Correct? What does it show? It shows that metals are good conductors of electricity. When the wires are connected by the tape or rubber band, then you will see the bulb glows. So these are connected by tape here, insulation tape here, and say rubber bands here. So here also tape should be there. Then you find that the bulb glows. There should not be any disconnection. This is very important. So what does this experiment shows? This experiment or activity shows that metals are good conductors of electricity. And one more interesting property of metals is called ringing sounds. For example, in temple bells. And the property of ringing sound is called sonorosity is called. Property is called sonorosity. And I think all of you have seen in temples they keep bells like this. And when a bell is hit like this, it gives a sound for some time, correct? That interesting property is called sonorosity. It can be seen only in metals like brass, bronze, etc. But you cannot see in the case of non-metals. So this is a very interesting property of metals. Also, you know that metals are very hard. Can you name some hard metals? Yes, iron is a hard metal, correct? Then what else? Zinc. Okay, zinc also is hard metal. Then copper, silver, etc. But mercury is a liquid metal. Liquid metal. It is not hard. It flows from place to place. And they are lustrous. Means what? They are shining property. So if you do selfless seva, if you develop selfless love, your body also will be shining. You might have heard about Swami Vivekananda, Sathya Sai Baba, Sadguru Madhusudan Sai. All their body will be shining because of purity. Okay, so non-metals are usually soft except diamond. You heard about diamond? So this is a small piece of diamond, you may see. It is a very shining luster, correct? It is the hardest substance ever known, about which you study later. Okay, it's a form of carbon. So except diamond, almost all of the non-metals are soft in nature. Most of the metals are soft, solids. No, most of the metals are solids except mercury, which is a liquid. Non-metals exist in solids, liquids, gaseous forms. Solid example, sulfur, phosphorus, carbon, etc. Liquid, bromine. Gas, nitrogen, oxygen, etc. So solid you have carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, etc. Liquids you have bromine. Gases you have oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, etc. They are gases. So here most of the metals are solids. When you say metals, you have sodium, iron, gold, silver, G silver, this is gold, platinum, etc., etc. They are all solids. Mercury is a liquid, correct? So that is another property. So metals like sodium and potassium are soft and can be cut with a knife. Okay, so they are very soft in nature. You can have a knife to cut it. So sodium is natrium, Na. Potassium is K. You studied symbols, correct? You studied in 6th class, 6th and 7th, correct? So these are some of the properties of metals and non-metals. So for example, iron. Do you know why this red color comes? That is called as rusting of iron. When iron is exposed to moist air, there will be formation of rust. Okay, and this is gold, by which all different ornaments are made. In India also we have got some gold deposits, but highest is in South Africa. Like this is silver. It's also one of the costliest metals. So silver chains, silver ornament, especially silver idols, silver plates are available, is it not? And this is what is nothing but copper, brownish metal, used for many of the vessels in your home, correct? Now let us see some home assignments. Which of the following can be beaten into thin sheets? A. Zinc, B. Phosphorus, C. Sulfur, D. Oxygen. You must tell which is it can be beaten into sheets. What do you call it? Beaten into sheets? Malleability. You are correct. Malleability. Which of the following statement is correct? All metals are ductile. All non-metals are ductile. Generally, metals are ductile. Some non-metals are ductile. Which is correct? You must tell. And third question is, some properties are listed in the following table. Distinguish between the metals and non-metals on the basis of these properties. Appearance, how it is in metals, how it is in non-metals, you must tell. Hardness, malleability, ductility, heat conduction, conduction of electricity, you must tell, compare these two. Okay, now let us see what Bhagwan Baba say. Water flows from a higher level to the lower level. God's grace too means also flows down to those who are bent with humility. Vidya dadati vinayam. You will be called an educated person, boy or girl, only if you have that humility or vinaya. For them, God's grace also flows. Okay? So come prepared for the answers. Thank you.